Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name is Chris Bratt, not Matt Lees, and
it's a weird name.
Yeah, my parents are quite odd with name choices.
Strange.
I'm joined by Mr. Simon Miller.
I'm Simon Miller, not Chris Bratt.
Mr. Steve Burns.
Yep.
And we've got a new nickname for David Scammell, Scam Jam.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Ripping my nicknames off on air.
I made
Miller.
the nickname.
Miller came up
The
with
royal
it.
we.
No one else.
Can we get this, talking of we, can we get this over quickly, please? Because I've just realised that I need the toilet.
Oh,
and,
God, this is...
And this could be a disastrous podcast as a result.
If you wee in the middle of this podcast, you're never doing this again.
This is awful.
I can't believe you waited till the very start.
I'm sorry, I brought a drink in with me as well to
Don't
make it even
drink your
worse.
drink. Oh my god.
Did no one ask him before we left if he needed the toilet?
Oh,
If you do this again, I'll turn this car around.
Scam
And
Jam.
no one gets to go to Alton Towers.
Or SummerSlam?
But I'll talk about it.
Has anyone been playing video games this week? I think you like yesterday. You did a Last of Us kind of spoiler
Yeah,
special.
that's up now.
And
I don't think we need to talk about The Last of Us anymore.
Yeah, no.
I'm all Last of Us did out.
I was freaking out yesterday because every time I needed to walk past this room, I didn't hear much, but I'd hear the odd word just slip out of this room. I was terrified that I was just going to spoil it for myself.
So you realised it was all a dream, right?
Yeah.
I was when I completed it and it pulled
Wait,
back out
what?
from the screen.
Stop it.
And it was Nathan
He
Drake
hasn't
playing it in
finished
his
it
pants, laughing. I was like, wow, you know
well,
what?
that was unexpected.
Yeah, didn't expect that to happen.
Okay, Dave, we'll
Yo.
start with you, my friend.
How you doing?
Have you playing any fun video games?
Yeah. I've been playing Hotline Miami on Vita.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
How's it controlled?
Which Simon reviewed earlier in the week. But no, you know what? At first, I wasn't sure about the Vita controls. Because it's quite twitchy and the sticks aren't particularly built for twitchy type things. But after a while, great. It's converted me. Because I thought Hotline Miami on PC was a little bit overrated.
Do you prefer this version then? Is that what you're saying?
I do prefer it, yeah. It feels more like a twin stick shooter
No, you can
than it
do
used
it.
to.
That's the thing. There are some kind of complaints that obviously mouse and keyboard is going to be faster, but it's top down. Twin sticks does suit a game like Hotline Miami, at least from what I've seen. And you've liked it so far?
Well, I finished it last night, so I must have done something for me. But it looks great on the Vita as well. The screen, the
Makes it
colours
really
on the
sharp,
screen,
doesn't it? Yeah, it's much better than the PC version.
And the soundtrack in your headphones. I'm playing it on the train, which is really weird because yesterday I noticed this guy was watching what I was doing on it, and obviously Hotline Miami is a little bit.
It's not one of those games you necessarily want to take out into the real world.
Yeah, and I thought to myself,
serial killer.
I hope this guy doesn't think I'm a bit odd. I mean, everyone thinks I'm a bit odd, but I hope he doesn't think I'm about to recreate. It was the kind of thing I imagine the Daily Mail going, this is what's wrong with youth today.
Yeah.
Like,
You're not youth, Scammell, anymore.
yeah, but
What a horrible thing to say to someone.
No. Youths are like 13 to 17-year-olds, aren't they?
I wish I was.
In
that
the
age.
eyes of the media, as soon as you're over 18, you're an adult. That's what I'm referring to.
Nah, fair enough. You've been playing it as well a little bit in the office.
Yeah, no, it's
I've
really
seen.
good. It's really Moorish. It's like crack. It's like once you had a little bit, you just need a little bit more. I do find it exceptionally hard. I know that's not really the going thing to say.
It is,
but-
it is quite. I found it quite difficult when I played on PC.
It's very
I think it's the way you
unforgiving, isn't it?
play it.
It's like,
After a while, you get into that zone and you start
Yeah.
zipping around. But
But
start with,
one hit kills and all of that. That's always.
Yeah.
Well, I
that's
found
always
sticking
tough.
to certain masks to help get through
Oh, yeah.
certain levels. Just stick it, like you unlock new masks all the time with different abilities, but just stick with the tiger.
Is there
one.
anything new with the Vita version? Is there a new mask? Am I right?
I think
There is a new mask. I can't remember what the mask is, but
Oh, it
there
can't
is
be that
the
impressive.
new. No, sorry, there is. It's the mask that's linked to turning the world black and white. Basically,
Yeah,
it goes a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
Kill. Is it Kill Bill where
Yeah,
it turns
yeah.
it all
Yeah.
black and white and red blood? Didn't like it.
Really?
It's
Nah.
all right. I mean, it's nice the fact that
I-
because I think the real appeal of it is that if you like the game on your PC, the fact you now get to take it around with
Yeah.
you is
Oh, yeah.
quite fun. So to throw that in there is nice, but yeah, it's not
The black and white thing.
Much.
I found it hard to navigate the maps because I couldn't work out how the rooms were separated almost.
Okay.
Like because different rooms are obviously separated by different colours, but when it's all black and white,
good point.
I couldn't work out how I got out of certain rooms and how I. So yeah, I tried it once or twice, and I'm never going back to that.
Fair enough. Well, at least that's just a nice little bonus. You buy Hotline Miami on the Vita because you already like Hotline Miami, probably.
I've been playing a bit of Grid 2 as well.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
You did an extended play on that back in the day.
Yeah, it's all right. It's grown on me over a while, but it feels like more of the same. It feels like cheap and lazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Really? Ooh.
And there's nothing too much to it. It's a pretty generic racer. by all accounts.
It's really split opinion, though, hasn't it?
well,
I think
has it? Like,
yeah.
critically, it seems to have done quite well. But I browsed the
What are the
official
critics
forums the
now,
other day,
eh?
and they're all like, Grid 2 is shit.
There's the split in opinion then.
There you
Well,
go.
yeah, but it's like, why isn't
it
that?
more of? It's just more of the same, is it not?
No, well, it is, but it feels like it also feels like they've dumbed it down almost a little bit. It feels a little bit
That's
more.
just games, isn't it? That's what games do now.
It's playing it safe, racer, appeal to as many people as possible. That I don't know. There's something. It's just there's no reason for me to buy it. It feels like every other racing game that I've played in the last 7 years.
As compared to the original Grid, which
The original Grid has a sense of style about it. I think it was one of the first games. It was one of the early Codemasters races on this gen, so it looked really nice for a start. And
What is Grid's thing? What makes it different than other races?
um,
What's your thing?
well, this one it's
There we are.
What's
this
your
one. It's
thing?
all about. It's pretty standard stuff, but it's about growing a league essentially from nothing. They compare it to the UFC, how the UFC came from nothing and went on to become
who compares it to that
Codemasters
in the game?
No, not in the game.
Oh,
in
right, I was
their,
gonna
in their
say,
build-up stuff.
Dana White turns up.
They would do as well.
Yeah,
That's
how-
a terrible comparison.
Yeah, how it grows into this global phenomenon. But the idea is that the races progress from these kind of dull, static, empty cities to these big, extravagant.
Yeah, as the league itself gets
you know,
bigger.
like the dirt games. All their courses are like fireworks and pyro shit everywhere, and it's quite exciting. Whereas this Grid 2 is not exciting. It's very dull for about the first 4 hours, and by that point, it's like if it hasn't grabbed you by then, people are just going to get rid of it.
Yeah, fair enough. I when we played, we did an extended play on it. I wasn't blown away by it, but I'm not really a racing fan, so I couldn't really tell if that was just.
Well, the handling's really weird. The handling is very odd. It's once you realise that it's actually a drift game,
Yeah.
it all kind of clicks. But it wants you to think that it's almost like a proper racer. Proper racers aren't drifty.
It doesn't have a magic fun button that everyone missed, does it?
Well, this is the thing. For a while,
What game was that? Everyone moaned
Ridge
about it.
Racer Unbounded.
That's right. Yeah.
Ridge Racer Unfun
Yeah.
edition. Anyway, yeah, it's boring to talk about. It's quite boring to play for a good few hours, but it sinks its hooks in after a while. It just takes too long to get there, basically. But
So Grid 2 sucks.
it doesn't suck.
No,
Dave, you said it now. You said
we're
it.
going black and white in this podcast.
Nah.
Grid 2, rubbish.
It's not as good as a
1
lot
out
of
of
people.
10.
There's a lot of people suggested.
Steve, how about yourself? Have you been playing any better games than Grid 2?
Well, unfortunately, I've just been catching up with The Last of Us.
Yeah, cool, sure. Yeah.
So we won't talk about that, apart from now I'm towards the end of the game. And slight moans about inconsistent mechanics and climbing over gates aside, it's very good.
Simon Luke's angry.
Yeah.
I just don't. That's just something that me and Steve don't agree on. I don't think it matters.
The height of
He
gates.
does. That's it.
The height of gates in The Last of Us isn't important to you, Simon.
I can't climb over this gate. Don't worry, I've been able to boost you over every other thing like this. Oh, now I have to go and find a bin. But anyway, no, bloody good game. And another bloody good game that I've been catching up with, Dark Souls on PC, which I got from Green Man Gaming for something. I think they paid me. It was that cheap. And it's brilliant. And
I actually played it for the first time last night on the stream as well. It's pretty damn good.
it's the thing about those games, the series, I should say, is I hate fantasy shit like that.
So do I.
It bores me to tears.
These
But there's
guys.
something, I think you said it, Chris, it's so bleak, but the world is so big, and it doesn't really feel like you're actually impacting it in terms of, you're not saving the world, but you actually feel like you're moving through it. And it feels like an adventure in a way, in a purest form. And it doesn't need a comedy sidekick or a fucking wizard or any of that shit. It just needs you and a morning star and a lot of tenacity. It's great.
Last night we spent 2 hours in a place called the Chasm of the Abyss and
So deadline day.
died to the same boss about 30 times.
But were you learning?
Yeah, well, yes, a little bit.
Or
A little
just
bit here and
swearing?
there. Yeah, there's quite a bit of swearing.
But surely one of the reasons you struggled so much is because you're in your pants.
That
can't help
It doesn't
the
help.
situation,
No,
no.
it definitely
Gets
doesn't
me
help.
through life.
Yeah, we probably should just point out for anyone who hasn't watched the stream, he's referring to the character that we play,
No, I'm
Pants
referring
Man.
to you, Chris.
We don't actually. Well, although Matt's talked about doing the final episode in his pants, so you might need to have a word with him at some point.
Yeah, I
Simon.
don't really think anybody wants to see
Yeah.
a man in his pants.
I don't want to sit next to a man playing.
Oh
his
no!
pants.
If he does it, you have to do
Put it
too.
on a premium site.
Yeah,
Get it off
Scam
Twitch.
will do it for free. You know, he'll jump right in there in his pants.
Otherwise, it'll be
Jim.
like the volleyball scene in Top Gun, where it'll look weird because that was filmed afterwards because they were like, we need more action in this action movie or something to appeal.
What says more action than volleyball?
Yeah, but we need something to appeal to, like, I don't know, women, I suppose. So like, right, Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer and Rick Rossovich, whoever it is, get your tops off. Obviously, Anthony Edwards had not been in the gym. They were like, keep a vest on. It's like, it's so embarrassing. Like,
talking of Tom Cruise, didn't you bump into Tom Cruise? Or somebody bumped into Tom Cruise?
No. That is an exaggerated story that at E3,
That's what someone's saying.
Yeah, some people
Tom Cruise and I hung out, man.
Yeah.
No, some people went to Soho House, which you only go to see celebrities. And Tom Cruise happened to walk past some people, and that story soon turned into I sat there and had a picture taken with Tom Cruise.
Wow,
absolute bollocks.
But you know who I did bump into?
Isla Fisher.
I wish at the Microsoft conference. We were leaving, weren't we, Miller? We were leaving the Microsoft E3 conference, and I put my hand out onto a rail because it was unsteady. I didn't want to fall.
You were that excited.
And then a hand went on top of mine, and it was Michael Pachter's hand. Michael Pachter. He touched me. And now I feel I have all of his powers.
Yeah, did you feel like him imparting
it was like Highlander
knowledge?
It was like Highlander.
Was this before or after we bumped into Dan Greenawalt?
Oh,
this
has turned into
but anyway, Michael Pachter touched my hand, and now I know everything about video games.
Well, who else should we drop?
No, it wasn't that. It's just that we kind of just walked into his car.
We didn't walk into his car. This story gets more extreme each time.
If you had walked into his car, you'd be dead, because that's one of two in the entire world.
No, it was a different car.
No, it wasn't. No, they were the two cars.
Were they?
They were the two cars. We saw when
they were driving them around all week.
When I went to the event later on, because we saw Dan Greenawalt getting out of these cars before E3, doing car stuff, showing off, and then I saw him and I interviewed him at the Microsoft One kind of showcase thing later on in one of the evenings, and that car was there, and he had about 700 interviews in front of the car, and then there was an Indy car, and it's just like, you've got a lot of money, Microsoft.
Dude,
like, you've got
I get it though. Like people that like Forza get
Oh no, everyone was having photos.
That's the thing. They get hard-ons for stuff like that.
I heard that car didn't have an engine in it. The one on stage.
Of course it did.
That's what I was told.
There's only 1 or 2 on the world. Do you think they take the engine out of it?
I got told it.
Who told you that? Unless it was Dan. What's his face? I can't remember his name.
I don't know who it was.
Suit doesn't fit me well.
I was standing there.
Don Matrick. I don't believe you.
I was standing there in the queue to play Forza 5, and they were like, "Did you know that car doesn't have an engine in it?" And I don't know who they were. Someone else in the queue. And I was,
whoever told you that needs to go to confiscation school.
Was it the same person that had a photo with Tom Cruise and then a meal with Tom Cruise?
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Now they're going out with Tom Cruise and they're flying
now
around.
they are Tom Cruise. I am Tom Cruise.
We walked past Phil Spencer, walking past Denny's.
So good.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Dave Scammer, breaking all the big stories.
Just dropping names.
That car
now.
probably didn't have an engine.
We're not dropping. Well, it's just
we saw Kojima as well.
Okay, that's
Kojima did take a picture of the World War Z banner that was up, that had on the skyscraper. He'd stood there. And
there's a picture this morning on Kojima's Twitter feed of him on a metal horse. That guy's Twitter is one of my favourite things in this mortal world. He usually takes
pictures of his food, doesn't he? And then kind of like teasing pictures of a grey fox. He'd be like, "Oh, here's the cyborg ninja. What's coming next?"
He takes pictures of things that make him happy. That's what Twitter should be. Instead, we all get cynical.
Like
and
it's
snarky.
a dream.
Yeah.
like that's the ideal.
But Kojima's in the minority.
Yeah,
so he's screwed.
But a happy minority.
But yeah, those are the games that I've been playing.
Simon Miller, the
Hello,
janitor.
Chris Pratt. How you doing?
I just called you the janitor. I thought you'd like that. That's your pool nickname.
Yeah,
the janitor.
Sometimes I clean up.
Yeah.
I came out with that before Brat tries to steal another one of mine.
Oh, right.
Oh, my God. Why are you so possessive of nicknames?
Because everybody, in my life, everybody steals. I come up with names. Somebody steals them and I have to start again.
That's entirely how they work.
Maybe in your world. Not in mine.
Oh.
Anyway, on to things that matter in this world. I played Game & Wario this week,
yes, you
and
did.
I've never been so upset by anything in my entire life. You can put that on the box. Never been upset by anything in my entire life. VideoGamer.com. But if you played the WarioWare games, I'm sure most of you have. If you have not, games. Go all the way back to the Game Boy Advance, and it's basically 2 to 3 second mini games, which required sort of instinctive skill and reflex, and they were mental. They were absolutely insane, which was half the fun.
Yeah,
because one would be a finger would be going back and forth across the bottom of the screen. There'd be a nose, and you time the button press to stick the finger up the nose.
I heard you guys talking about it in the kitchen the other day. The idea of WarioWare is it's almost like Wario who has made his own game, and it's just this weird collection of crazy mini games.
Yeah, and it
doesn't really feel like a Nintendo game almost, just because of how.
But it looks garbage.
Sporadic it is.
It's got low end production stuff, but that's half the charm. Now, what they've done with this one is they clearly made all those tech demos for when they released the Wii announced it in 2011, 12, whenever it was.
Wii U?
Yeah,
years
2011,
ago,
right? 2011. And all the tech demos that were there, they've thought, right, we need to somehow jam this into a game. What franchise do we have? We can't just call it Wii U tech demos. And they picked WarioWare. So gone is the, quick, sporadic games. And in its place, a really long, drawn-out, boring mini-games. Right. It's like, this will last you an afternoon. And then you'll put it down and you'll never play it again.
How much is it? I don't even know.
35 quid?
I think so. I think it's like a proper... But I mean, it's no different to other minigame collections. It's just not a good collection of minigames. Like there's one where, again, they're all from that tech demo. So we saw the guy doing the shuriken stars as he was throwing them off the gamepad onto the screen. This time it's arrows. So you shoot these things, so you're pulling the arrow back on the gamepad.
What was it? Nintendo Land, wasn't it, as well? The shuriken.
Yeah, the shuriken.
It's the same thing. This time you just use an arrow. I mean, there's another one where, the best one is the one that actually does ape the old games. But to try, because the biggest problem with the game is they feel the need to... obviously, whoever's leading this said everything has to time back into this whole gamepad TV mechanic. Well, no, it doesn't. Use the gamepad when it makes sense. So there's one where you do the old stuff, and there's kind of a lot of quick mini games. But the twist is this time is that because the guy doing it is 9volt, who's a character that's been in all of them,
right?
And he's staying up playing games, and his mum wants him to go to bed. So she, every now and then, will... You say been there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been there. And she will keep popping her head in the room. So what you have to do is you have to play the mini games on the gamepad, but then you have to keep an eye on your TV to make sure she doesn't catch you.
That sounds quite good.
That's actually quite good. Yeah. And that's the only one where you
35 quid.
But at least it's a twist that works. And you think, okay, there's a bit of tension.
It did look
here.
quite good when I...
Yeah. But, I mean, it's still... It doesn't feel that well realised. And the other one I liked was the one we had to draw lines. I mean, that sums up that game. My second favourite game was one where it said, try and draw a 3 centimetre line. And you guess how long 3 centimetres is. It goes, it's 2.8. Close, though. Cheers, mate.
Is it doing anything that the DS couldn't do?
No. Definitely not.
Does the Wii U at all do anything the 3DS couldn't do, other than graphically, obviously?
Look, I wouldn't mind this collection coming out. I'd have no problem if it was called, I shouldn't be marketing, Wii U Tech Demos 13. I'd have no problem with that whatsoever. Because
you would not buy a game called
No,
Wii U
I wouldn't,
Tech
but if they think there's a market for it, fine. But don't take the WarioWare brand and spin it like this, because that's not what WarioWare is. WarioWare is a very distinctive, very specific, unique run of games that people like. Don't just shoehorn this stuff into a brand that doesn't need it. It's unfair.
Has it been branded as a WarioWare game?
I know it's Game and Wario.
I know. That's
I think that's probably...
It's got all the same art style, all the same... Yeah. I said in my review, you may go, well, it's not called that, but just go and play it. It's identical. Like, it is the presentation is identical.
Why is it taking so long? Wasn't it meant to be a launch game originally?
Who knows? I don't know.
It's taking forever.
So yeah, it's really upset me. I genuinely sat down and thought this will be, a laugh, quote unquote, and I thought, just a bit of fun to cheer up my day, and it wasn't. It's just upsetting and poor and average and boring. I think I almost fell asleep at one point.
Oh no!
So
yeah, what you want from your expensive mini games?
No, not good. And if you've got a family, maybe sort of buy it. But
I imagine there's better collections you could go for.
I never really like mini games. I think there's one good mini game collection out there. That
Carnival Challenge, whatever it was.
Nintendo Land itself is a collection.
I don't understand why this wasn't an update for Nintendo Land. You can even call it Game & Wario. I guess you can't charge for it then, but just stick it in there. I don't understand.
DLC, they're loving their DLC at the moment.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's very disappointing for the Wii U, because I think this is one of the franchises that people like me. I would have bought Wii U for this.
Really?
I love WarioWare games. They're just hilarious. They're hilarious.
Me and Steve just looked at each other
my point being is that I'm definitely going to buy one for 3D Land and Mario Kart 8 when they come out.
Yeah.
So if this had come out and it'd been a proper WarioWare game, and I genuinely got entertained by it, I think I can drop the money now, and I've already got investment for the future.
Yeah, it'll only be about £8 by the time Mario...
Well, that's true.
Well, Mario Kart 8 is next year, isn't it?
That's my point. What I'm saying is now I won't buy one to the end of the year. Well, whereas if this was really good, I thought I'll get one now because I can muck around WarioWare.
I think they've got that the wrong way around, to be honest. I think they should have done Mario Kart for Christmas and Mario 3D for next year.
Depends where they are in development.
I think Mario Kart would sell to more...
Aren't their release dates pretty flexible anyway, Nintendo?
But they've said it's 2014, so I doubt they'll bring it forward.
No, they will. I don't think they will.
I don't know if Donkey Kong...
Yeah, no, it usually goes the other way, doesn't it?
Mario 3D Land, I don't know. I think people... The kind of audience that have always bought Wii are the kind of audience that don't buy games very often. So I think if they were going to buy a Wii U, they've done it already and bought new Super Mario Brothers, and then they'll see a new Mario game out this Christmas and go, is it any different to the last one?
I don't think they've figured out how to sell the Wii U to the majority of the Wii crowd yet. It's still that
they've figured out the Wii U at all.
Yeah,
they've got me. They've got 3D Land and Mario Kart 8.
Maybe, yeah, but besides that, I think the only thing that benefits them is the fact that Microsoft have fucked up so incredibly badly. And same with Sony as well. We'll get onto that shortly.
I want to talk about what I played.
Star Drive. Captain Colossus's
I feel I need
world into Indie Land.
I feel I need to bring a bit of positivity into this podcast. I've been playing Company Heroes 2 and it's very good.
I'm jealous.
Is it as good as Company Heroes 1 though?
I haven't actually played it. Matt has, and he seems to think it's more of the same of that.
Yeah, everyone's saying that.
But not necessarily that was an argument you had against Grid 2, I guess. But
it's been a long time. It's like 8 years or something between two games.
You say that though, but Company Heroes has had so many expansion packs. Like, what justifies this being a full release?
This one is obviously the Eastern Front, and it's focusing on the
but like
Russians.
they told me, it originally started as an expansion pack idea.
Yeah, I can imagine that's true.
Right, Jeremy Paxman scandal.
So is GTA Vice City.
I love Company Heroes. I love the expansion packs, but
I also love this game.
I haven't played Company Heroes 2 yet, but by the sound of the reviews, that seems to be the biggest criticism, that it is more of the same. So I don't understand why they decided to...
Because they had enough to... Like, the campaign... They had enough to make the campaign a full-fledged game.
But apparently the campaign is shit.
No, the beginning...
everyone's loving the campaign.
The story is a bit bunk, from what I hear, but...
Who
cares about the
story of World War II or the kind of dialogue between the characters?
Well, the story of World War II as told by Pearl Harbor wasn't very good, so...
No, but I know the guy that... Their historical knowledge relic is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, Quinn Duffy.
Quinn Duffy is like a walking...
Yeah.
Historian.
And I like him.
I think...
But...
I was going to say, to just address like the complaints some people had with the beginning of the campaign, and we kind of showed this in the extended play, because I played really badly and still managed to scrape through the mission when I don't think I should have, and that's because they've tried to design obviously you're controlling the Russians, and they've tried to design the gameplay, around the idea that you've got this just a huge quantity of troops, and you can constantly throw conscripts in to try and just like. Whereas the Germans were this highly trained, like precision strikes, the Russian response for that was just numbers of troops, and you do get that feel in the campaign. However, it does make it a little bit forgiving to start with, because you can constantly get these really, really cheap units to just keep sending them out to back up your force. And yeah, in the mission we played in the extended play, I completely messed up. I sent snipers at the front of my Thors and got them decimated immediately.
You sent snipers as your like rooks in chess.
I had like a heavy machine gun which I kept moving, and it meant that he couldn't fire, and I just did everything wrong. And yet, because I could just keep...
Was the Benny Hill music playing while you're doing this?
Well, Matt was distracting me.
Right, okay.
To be fair, but I kept piling conscripts in and just managed to like complete the mission just through strength of numbers alone.
What, really?
And that takes,
see, the thing
takes
I
a little bit away.
Because it's the Russians. I mean, the Russians won a lot of battles like that.
That's pretty much how they did it.
And there's two sides to that argument. On one side, it takes away a little bit from the kind of the micromanagement of... obviously, Company Heroes 2 is very close to the troops, and you're supposed to be about all these little engagements. It takes away from that a little bit. But on the other side, you are supposed to be playing the Russians in World War II.
But the thing...
There's only so much you can do with that idea.
The thing I loved about Company Heroes 1, Steve,
right?
No such game. Carry on.
It wasn't a game. It was an RTS that wasn't about tank rushing, essentially, and it was all about placement. And you could put...
Well, the Germans still are. That's the thing. When you play multiplayer, the Germans are still focused around that idea. Whereas the Russians have...
I quite like that, because it's very, very...
It makes the Germans and Russians feel entirely different to play.
And that's like kind of what happened. That is kind of what happened in those battles. So I guess there is logic to it.
It's like Alien and Aliens, isn't it?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because how close do you stick to...
Well, Alien's all about one thing.
Like Hitler and Churchill, isn't it?
Alien is about one thing, precisely hunting down each... And the second one is just...
Action movie, yeah.
That's
gun noise.
Yeah, I'm going to take that out and just use that in something. But yeah, no, it's an interesting argument, because how close do you try and stay to the kind of historical idea, and how much you change for the sake of gameplay?
Yeah, you got to balance.
I think, although the stock campaign is a
if
little
there's
bit...
both, then fair enough.
And from what I've heard, the further you get into the campaign, the less of that there is. It's definitely the first half of it.
You've got blizzards as well, right? That's kind of cool.
That's the other new change, which isn't a massive change. There aren't massive changes in Company Heroes 2, but it's interesting, the effect of weather. Obviously, another big part of the Russian campaign was that the Germans couldn't survive in such harsh conditions, and that's reflected in the gameplay. So occasionally you'll get blizzards coming in, and you have to make sure troops are close to sources of heat or they freeze.
Does the ice thing
they'll leave tracks in the snow that the ice can be broken.
Does that make much of a difference? Make much of an impact on gameplay? Like the idea that tanks can fall through?
Yes, it does. You have to be very good you have to be very aware of what's going on to be able to take advantage of it. Yeah. If a line of tanks are crossing a river that's frozen, you can smash the ice, and that's a game-winning moment.
To me.
And if you do that and it works, that is an awesome moment because you feel like you feel like you were so on the ball that you deserved it. And the
environmental awareness stuff,
but they're cool.
Is cool. Yeah.
And this is my first time in the Company Heroes game, and
given that the first is the highest rated RTS of all time.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Do you think that this may be a disappointment to some people?
Well, I don't know. It's maybe those who wanted more changes. But those who wanted a game closer to apparently the highest rated RTS.
That's the thing, like how much you change.
Yeah, how much you change if you've already created something.
But surely if they just did it again, there'd be people going, well, it's just the same game again.
And I guess I can see your argument that it does feel like a DLC in the sense that...
Well, I've not played it. I can't say it feels like anything.
It's a similar kind of game, but from a different perspective.
Like Half-Life Opposing Force
would do. But yeah, it's... yeah, sure, why not?
Half-Life Opposing Force, you play as the
opposing
guys.
force.
Yeah, the opposing force.
But it's really good.
And yeah, no, I've been really enjoying
10-year
it.
review. It's really good.
Yes, it is very good. I'd give it a 9.
There you go.
Gearbox's finest
Apart
moment.
from that,
Probably.
I'll quickly mention I've still been playing State of Decay, which is still terrible when you first play it and wonderful when you.
I'm
sit
waiting
with
for the
it.
PC version because I can't play it
for the Xbox
10 frames a second.
Well, Steve, we're starting a new mini-series with State of Decay from today. So if you are interested and want to see a bit more gameplay other than just the kind of the coverage we've done so far.
Also, the sheer hilarity of Chris trying to keep all his people alive.
Yeah.
I heard an amazing story about State of Decay the other day from my friend who's playing it. And he said, obviously, because it's got insta-death in it, and he'd spent hours building up his main character. And then
Insta-death.
Permadeath.
Sorry. And he said he just went out for a walk just to get some supplies. Literally, he said down the road, one of the easiest things he's done, and he got from nowhere, got bit by someone, and this guy dead. That's it.
It happened to me. I made a short video called "Why You Should Stick with State of Decay," and permadeath is. I love it in certain games. It was why XCOM was my favorite game last year, and it's just those moments where I focused on one character in particular because she was really good at shooting, and I put all my efforts into getting her skills up, and then just made a stupid mistake, walked into a building, got surrounded, she died, and I lost all that progress with her and had to go to a character that I hadn't used at all. And I deserve that to happen. It's a zombie apocalypse. You mess around like that, people die. And it reflects that really well.
Yeah,
I had that with my sister in XCOM.
Oh, God. You don't want to name it after family members.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
David.
That's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
Destroyed by robots.
I named my XCOM characters after Battlestar Galactica characters, and that tore me apart, man. Jesus, family would be almost as bad.
Was it?
I don't know what to say.
What's up?
It's like
Sam?
Sims. We've discussed this on the podcast
with Battlestar
before.
Galactica, one of the best TV shows that's ever taken place.
Yep.
I think that pretty much covers. It looks like I've been playing the best games out of you guys, other than The Last of Us.
I haven't enjoyed anything that I
Hotline
played
Miami's
this week. My Hotline Miami was good, yeah, but
well, there we are. Do we have any big news of this week? I guess we didn't. We haven't really covered the Xbox 180.
I don't know if I want to talk about it. People yell at me when I give my opinions on
Give
this.
your opinion, Minnow.
I don't think
They definitely do.
Really?
Definitely come at me in droves. You piece of shit.
I think
fucking hate you.
I think a surprising amount of people are coming around to your opinion.
Wah, it's got DRM and all this. They've taken it away. Wah, they've taken it away.
I mean, I did an article on it if you want to read it.
Okay, let's quickly just go through the actual changes they've made with this 180.
It doesn't have to go online anymore apart from when you first get it and set it up. It doesn't have to connect once a day. Games are now physical based.
Yep.
You can't do the sharing thing anymore. That's pretty much it, right?
And I think if you've bought a disc version, you can't
don't
install
need to
it and then take the disc out and play it.
No, this has to be in
anymore.
the machine.
Yeah.
That's
Which is the one thing that confuses me, because I don't know if you can load up multiple games. You know, like you can switch between TV and games instantly. There was one instance in that press conference that they seemed to show...
Killer Instinct, was it?
They were playing something and then they loaded up Killer Instinct. Now, I don't know if the difference is that Killer Instinct is a digital-only game.
Yeah. But I bet you could have done it before. You can't do it now. The disc has to be in the drive. That's the thing.
But if you go digi-only, which I am thinking about doing still...
Yeah, then you could probably do it. If you've downloaded it, I'm sure you'll be able to do it. Yeah.
See, that's a big thing for me. Because if I'm playing, I don't know, bloody Rise...
Yeah, you'll play Rise. You'll play Rise.
That is the name.
That is the name?
Yeah.
Return of the Bromans.
And then someone goes, hey man, I'm in a Battlefield game, come join my server. If I can go Alt-Tab onto...
It looks like both consoles are trying to do that. The PlayStation 4 interface video kind of showed a similar idea.
You could already kind of do that. You can already kind of do that on this gen.
Yeah, it just takes...
It's just convoluted.
But you can accept a request and then it says insert the disc in the drive.
Those moments where you press accept request on Xbox Live and then you're just waiting for 5 minutes.
It.
And you forgot.
Sometimes it ignores
you don't know whether you don't know whether or not it's still listening anymore. Are you still trying to get me in that other game? Because you haven't really done anything
for a while.
You
can ask Kinect now.
Exactly.
Xbox dashboard is fucking terrible.
Yeah, but I just think...
Returning to the 180.
That... it was a bad idea, but I mean, my biggest problem with it, and a lot of people have said, "Oh, that's bollocks," but it's just my opinion. Is that now I don't see apart from exclusives, which are getting less and less as each generation goes by. You know, they're the same box now. I liked having the choice. Oh, do I like this? Do I like that? You know, whose direction do I enjoy that they're going in? Now you just essentially have two black boxes that just play games.
Well, not really. There's still the TV thing, isn't there?
Yeah, but that's nothing.
No one's getting excited about that.
No, I know, but Microsoft is.
Yeah, but that wasn't... Before, I had gaming reasons to make a choice. A TV never came into it, so now TV still doesn't come into it. And it's just... I'm not saying that Microsoft would have done this. I'm not saying they wouldn't have done this.
You felt that they were at least pushing boundaries in some way.
I at least felt that if they did embrace this digital future, there was a chance. Now, I don't know, and people listening to this none of us will know. We can only argue it until the cows come home. That Microsoft may have gone, right now we can start lowering prices. Yeah. Much like Steam, much like iTunes, much like Amazon Kindle Store. They can actually say, we will offer... You don't know they wouldn't have done that. You can say, oh, but they've done this. I don't care what they've done in the past. I care about that was a feasible option they could have decided to do in the future.
And you can say now that it's definitely going to be more difficult for that to happen because it's put retailing back into a stronger position, which is good and bad, but it's going to make it difficult to
that's another
change
point.
some of the prices.
I know consumers were making their voice heard, but
because let's not.
I think a lot of it also had to
always
do.
Online.
I think the retailers might have had something to say to Microsoft, and I think if they'd have gone, we're not going to support you in your marketing plans as much as we would have done. Otherwise, I think that probably is another strong.
I think that if they'd all sat down, I mean, not necessarily with retailers, but with publishers, and Sony. I think Sony had agreed to do the same thing, and then they saw the reaction and thought, "Screw that, we're not doing that anymore." I just do. I mean, it's based on nothing. It's just a gut feeling. But that's the only thing that bothers me is that I did like the sharing idea. And for anybody listening who's also tried to stab me in the eye, the whole you can only play for an hour thing, they are saying it's rubbish. Maybe that's a lie, but that's what they're saying. So it would have been proper sharing. That is something to miss. We can be upset about that.
I don't think what you're saying is in any way, that it's very logical. I don't think you're saying that the idea of checking online every 24 hours was necessarily a good thing, but good things could have come from...
Yeah, if someone said to me, design your ultimate console, that wouldn't be a part of it. That doesn't serve me in any sense. But if by proxy of that it offers other features, then fine. I'll there's always going to be some kind of barrier that you have to get over to access certain things.
The game sharing thing was always a very odd thing for me. It was it seemed to fly in the face of the rest of their... principles. Essentially, it seemed to be almost this DRM breaking mechanic that enabled players who hadn't purchased a license, if that's what you want to call it, to play a game.
I think that's why they were so vague about it.
And this is what I don't like. I don't like the double standards in that the only reasons these DRM things exist in the first place was to promote the sale of games. Right? People need to buy the game to play.
What sale of new games?
What a lot of the complaints are is that, fucking game sharing, family sharing's gone. That means I can't share my games with my family. Well, excuse me, you survived for however many years gaming has been doing it now. And really, the only reason you wanted it in the first place was because fucking Bill off the forum could buy it and you could share an account and play his copy of the game. And yeah, you could pay a $5 and chip in towards the cost of the game. But it struck me as something that happened with the PS3 when that first launched, and you could download a digital game onto 5 different PS3s off a single account. And that's exactly what happened. Forums are set up, threads where they're like, I've bought this, 5 people who wants to download it.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why DRM exists, because they're not getting the truth. They're not selling the amount that they should,
of course,
be selling. So this game sharing thing, it came out of nowhere. It's like, well, how does this fit in with the rest of the system? It completely seems to be the opposite of what...
It's just digital lending. But that's it. It's as simple as that.
But it's not, is it?
We don't know. We're having to guess on their behalf.
This is the thing. Everyone's assuming it was something.
Problem, isn't it?
I don't think it was ever what people assumed that it was going to be. I know Microsoft will say now, oh yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah,
no,
but they haven't said exactly what it was. And the idea of me being able to share a game with my mate in Australia is ridiculous.
But it's not sharing. You give them your license, so you can't play it once they've got
But
why
would any publisher ever allow that?
Why would
because it's the same as lending. It's embracing the future. If I want to lend Chris Gears of War 3, I give him, here's Gears of War 3, Chris. Now I can just ping it to him over the internet.
Publishers don't want that, though, do they? Obviously, Microsoft might have used that to sell a console.
But they can't stop that. They can't stop it digitally. They can't stop it not digitally. So you may as well embrace the technology we have to do it. It's cool. It makes
it is cool. Undoubtedly, it is cool. But
how far they would have gone with that, I'm not sure either.
The exploitation that could happen in that is ridiculous. I can't believe it was even on the table, to be perfectly honest, considering the rest of the stuff that they were
I don't see how you would exploit it that much.
But this is the big problem.
10 people?
The big problem is no one knows what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
This is like...
I think what it might be...
Microsoft PR is terrible. And this is the same thing that happened when they revealed the Wii U all those years ago. And we're sitting in an office, and the most senior man in the office, I've said this before, just shouted, "Someone tell me what the fuck it is," because no one knew. And Microsoft's PR team need putting in a bin, and that bin being fired into space. No more Don fucking Matrick and his shiny suit.
I don't think it's their PR team. I think it's the executive.
Well, but the thing is, they've got no message. Got no message.
That wasn't fed to the PRs. It's not the PRs. It's the actual top brass.
Don't care.
Feed it down.
Get rid of all of them. And I know they get a message.
Yeah, but they didn't get the message. That's the point.
Okay, all right. Well, Microsoft's message is all shades of wrong, and it's still not clear now, and it's still a problem.
Well, that's because now they're backtracking. When you backtrack, you have to kind of... you got to let the dust settle before you talk now, because... they need everyone to calm down, and they need to come back on an even playing field and say, right, here we are. We all know now. It's the same.
Yeah,
bollocks.
It's frustrating that we are having to guess what they possibly were thinking, because if they'd come out and just flat out explained why these features were being added and what the benefit was for the people watching, they could have destroyed that conference. Even though people were so against the idea of checking in the light, including myself, the more I think about it, if they'd explained it and conveyed it the right way, that could have been such a great moment for them.
That's another thing, isn't it? The timing of it was just weird. Like they'd had a week where they could fully explain what they were doing. If they wanted to backtrack, they could have done it there, and then they could have had a positive E3.
They'd had months of people saying, like,
they could have had a week long of positive interviews. We're doing this for the industry, for the gamers, etc., etc. And isn't it great?
They killed their interviews, didn't they?
Instead, they went through a week. Well, no, there's still some, wasn't there? But they went through a week of hassle, essentially, and rightfully so, only to then go messed up.
But it was sales, wasn't it? I bet they got pre-order figures in and went, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I imagine they'd probably.
PlayStation nailed the pre-orders in there as well.
I want to go on the record as well. I like what the PlayStation's doing as well. I do. I think everything.
PlayStation bores me, to be honest.
Well, no, I don't like all games. That's my only worry, is that all sort of launch games seem to bore me. But I like what they're doing. I think sticking to a model we always already have is fine. But only if somebody else is doing something different. Otherwise, I don't see us moving forward. Yeah. Now I just feel like we have more powerful boxes. That's all right, but that just means visuals are all we care about, really.
I'll have the perfect Xbox One experience when I go out and buy an Xbox One controller and then sync it with my PC.
Yeah.
And go...
yeah, exactly.
That's what I do now. I play on a wired Xbox pad. And I know it's the great Steam. Oh, we love your Steam. But like we said before, Steam was hated. I hated it. They made me spend money to play Half-Life. I had to go and buy loads of internet stuff. What is this?
PC is becoming more and more appealing.
Talking of the Xbox One controller, I keep seeing articles going up saying how the PS4 is the best controller ever made, etc., etc.
I didn't like it.
Perfect shooters.
I really liked it.
I totally disagree.
Really?
I found it too small, and I also found the touchpad, and this might have been the game I was playing, which was Thief. I found that some of the integration with the touchpad was a bit maybe
counterintuitive. I'll admit, I didn't.
Did you use your thumb when you were using the?
I didn't use the touchpad at all. But when I was looking at the controller, I thought, this is gonna. How quickly can you react to that? Well,
I was using my finger, and this is the thing: 'cause my hands are quite big. My thumbs are actually quite close to the touchpad anyway. But because you're so conditioned to use your finger, I was like, okay. So it's like change your weapons in Thief, and I was like, and it's just kind of weird because for years we're spending. It's like just hold. Just give me a radial wheel. Just do.
It's surprisingly loose though, that button as well, isn't it? It feels quite flimsy.
The whole pad for me.
Click it.
I've never been a fan of the DualShock or whatever designs they had before. So a SNES pad with prongs.
It feels a bit third party.
It does feel a bit third party. Yeah. The new Xbox pad, lovely.
I really liked it though. I disagree with you. I think
I disagree.
The smaller joysticks just felt right. They've slightly changed the position on them as well.
Are they smaller? The analog sticks?
Yeah, as in not circumference, like as in the
height.
Yeah, height.
Right,
It just felt nicer. They didn't snap back quite as aggressively as the PlayStation controller. I don't know, and the shoulder buttons as well.
That's the thing. They're still not triggers though. People are saying, "Oh, they're triggers." They're not. They are buttons with a little bit of a lip on them. It's not like an Xbox controller that feels like you're squeezing a trigger. It's not that at all. It still feels like an R2, but with the curve going the other way.
The right way.
Yeah. So, I mean, it feels better. That feels better, definitely. But I'm not sold on it. I tried to play Killzone on it, and it could have been the input lag on Killzone. I've heard there's a bit of an issue there. But I couldn't shoot anything.
It's a developer thing as well, isn't it? Like, if you play Last of Us, most PlayStation 3 games I don't enjoy doing with a pad. No problem with Last of Us.
Yeah.
Because I think people are smart when it comes to developing for it. So there could be a question.
Well, especially as they were so bad before with Uncharted 3. Is there an option? Now, did I see this, or is this just the tiredness talking when I first played it late at night? Could you adjust the dead zones? In a game I've been playing recently, you could adjust you can't adjust the dead zone, but you can adjust the amount of give in the sticks. I'm not sure if it's The Last of Us, because I always go in to the game options, and
not sure.
some developers leave subtitles on by default, and that makes me want to kill everyone. But go through and look at the controls, and there was a game I was playing, and you could adjust all of that. I was like, really good idea.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because there aren't enough games where you can fully remap all your controls as well. It's like A, B, or C. So COD, Halo, or whatever. FIFA.
Yeah, that's a different problem entirely, isn't it? I don't know why some games are so insistent on limiting what you can do with them.
Speaking of which, when I played with the Xbox One pad, when I played FIFA, the first thing anyone did, so I was watching people play, is they hit start or whatever. What's it called now?
You're going to say change to PES controls.
Change to PES controls, and the producers were like, "You're not allowed to change PES controls."
You're embarrassing us.
They did this. You're not allowed to, well, they didn't say you're not allowed to change PES controls. They said you're not allowed to change the controls. Now, I presumed right then that because
I'd have to walk out the room
because the build is unstable, essentially, or I presumed it to be, and changing things like that can have like disastrous effects. However, trying to watch people play FIFA, including myself, because I change all the controls round. I can change the triggers round, change the tactical defending off. I was like, oh my days, this is, it should just be, you should be able to customize like that, but
I couldn't have played it.
I tried.
Every shot would have gone flying over the bar.
Because there was loads of people watching, and every time someone got in on goal, they'd hit X, and they'd just go, boo, and they'd go, way. Then they got on, boo, way.
The thing about the Xbox One controller that I think is going to take a little bit of getting used to is the impulse triggers, the vibrations in the actual...
Is that the big change for the Xbox controller?
They were on for Forza.
Yeah.
Is that the big change?
It's probably the biggest change, yeah. So instead of just having a normal rumble like you would in a normal pad, it now has...
and the D-pad's obviously a lot nicer than the 360.
Yeah, it's not a circular thing anymore. It's like 4 individual things. But anyway, it now has 2... Well, I don't know how many motors there are, but there's essentially 2 motors in each trigger now. But what it feels like, when you go to the theme park or a fun fair and you sit on that chair that's like the electric chair and you hold the grips and it goes like that. It feels like that. And the first time it happened in Forza, basically, when you use the brake, when you slam the brake on in Forza, the left trigger, it will try and add this element. It makes it feel like there's a little bit of resistance on the brake by sending the rumble. And it feels like that. Really? It's like a kind of high-pitched buzz. It's not high-pitched, but do you know what I mean by that? A very high-frequency
It's like the buzz. Triggers have physics, isn't it? And they react against you.
Kind of.
So like when you hit the accelerator, you feel like you're depressing something rather than just slamming it down.
It's like halfway between force feedback and standard vibration. Yeah. It's all right.
I can see that being really good in some games and really frustrating in others.
Depends how they use it, isn't it?
Yeah. I like the idea of having some resistance when you're pressing a pedal. That sounds kind of... what it should be designed for.
I think I turned Rumble or Force Feedback off on my Xbox pad about 2 days after having, because it's so pathetic.
Really?
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, I'm really firing a gun here, guys.
Oh no, all these bullets are hurting.
I tried playing, I can't remember the game, but on a 6-axis PS3 controller. I was like, it's rubbish with that Rumble.
Yeah, when I had my 6, I didn't like it with that Rumble.
I'm not sure that adds anything for me. Like, imagine if you're playing at the
it's
PC,
more
your mouse and keyboard just start freaking out. Oh god,
I don't think
like you're a piano player.
I think to me it's just a comfort thing now. I just expect it, so if it's not there. It's not. Yeah.
But Rumble's a last gen feature.
It's true. Then bring it back. But yeah, I don't care. Screw it. Let them do what they want. I don't care anymore. Not bothered. But do whatever you want.
To bring it back to the start of this, there doesn't seem, the only thing that now seems different is the controllers, and that's a bit sad, seeing as we could have had very different systems that cater to very different tastes. And although I didn't like a lot of what Microsoft was saying, I would have loved to have had a box, and then if I move house or go to my girlfriend's house or go away somewhere, and I take that box with me.
Have good internet.
That box, well, yeah, I would obviously double check that, but that box has my games in it.
Like, well, that's the other thing, though. Like, the games themselves are the big differentiators as well. Now,
but with third party, as Simon mentioned, you were right, and we'll get on to it in a second. But yeah, with kind of third party being so important, I do prefer the Microsoft lineup, though.
I play
PlayStation. Yeah, it does bore me a little bit.
PS4 lineup, and I know they're still in development. They're rubbish.
Infamous second son.
Well, I didn't get to play that. That wasn't playable, but that did look good. But it's not a launch game.
8 out of 10. That was a reference to one of the videos we did. I don't actually think it's an 8 out of 10. But we haven't played it. Please don't kill me.
Drive Club is everything I didn't expect it to be, and the build looked rubbish.
Drive Club injured you, didn't it, Dave?
It really did. Drive Club was probably the biggest disappointment of E3 for me. Didn't look good at all. Killzone was just dull.
What first parties are you guys excited for? At the moment, the immediate one I go to is Project Spark with the Xbox, but that isn't even exclusive to the Xbox One.
I think it's Dead Rising and Forza for me, probably.
There's nothing that's really killer.
No, I know.
Yeah,
but
Dead Rising is probably the closest to what I would consider a game that would sell me on a console.
It's a shame I don't ask that question and we don't all leap on a game immediately. And oh my god, this is so exciting. There isn't that in the first parties at the moment.
That smart glass stuff, I know it's gimmicky, and I know it's smart glass and boo smart glass, who cares about second screens and all that. But that whole Dead Rising 3 thing where it skins your phone to look like the game phone and it calls you on your phone.
It's such a gimmick.
That is the most gimmicky thing.
But I'm going to be playing that game and I'm going to get a phone call and I'm like, fuck,
do you
hello,
just want somebody
man.
to ring you? Is that it?
It's
amazing.
Pay me a $5 a day.
Hello,
I'll call
Dead
you.
Rising.
That is cool.
How's your
That's
day
cool.
been?
Did you love Red Steel, where you had to pick up the phone, the
Yes.
Wii remote, and it
Yes.
was classic. Yeah, there you go.
That's so
Do
bad.
you play GTA 4 just to go bowling with Roman occasionally?
No, all that is
You
rubbish.
don't have to. Oh my days! Actually, you do have to do it a little bit.
But it's interesting though, isn't it? I'm waiting for the first party games that I'm going want to really get excited about.
But then this happens every time, right?
I
mean, what
guess
did
so.
PS3
Most
have?
times.
What did Xbox 360 have? Perfect Dark, I guess. Maybe.
The
PGR. Company.
The outfit, sorry.
The outfit.
That wasn't launch gen, though, was it? Launch
fair
window.
enough. And I'm being sarcastic anyway. It's a terrible, terrible game.
Call of Duty 2, I guess.
I think you buy into it in the kind of, not in the midterm, a mid to long. I think, there's, well, I mean, if you went even further back, so you went to the generation before this one, so when PlayStation 2 launched, so you had Tekken Tag and you had Time Splitters, which was ace. That's what really sold me on the machine, as well as just being PlayStation. But it wasn't the greatest thing. Fantavision. Whereas, of course, Xbox had Halo. And not a lot else. Shenmue 2, and we did have a PGR game, and Dead or Alive 3.
It's interesting, particularly when you're younger, those exclusives can be so important to what your choice in the end. I guess then again, maybe does that even change? Like I was a Sony boy because of Final Fantasy. I had no interest in the Xbox at all. Final Fantasy, that's what I cared about, and so.
But as we're saying, as that kind of dies, as third party allegiances become not viable due to money, essentially. I mean, you just then you get into the point where you're like, okay, well, which version is better?
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day,
we still don't really know,
and we don't really
know,
and so it's difficult.
PS4 seems to be winning over people at the moment because A, it's cheaper, be on paper.
It sounds like
it's more powerful. And just the Sony's messaging is more consistent, and the whole indie thing.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, it's like, well, Xbox, by the look of it, has better games.
Yeah,
Xbox
has better games.
A lot of people disagree with that.
E3,
I made that comment online foolishly, and everyone
really,
everyone said they don't agree.
And I'm not convinced that Sony are going to deliver a network that can live up to Xbox Live. And everyone's overlooking the fact you now have to pay to play multiplayer on.
Yeah,
PS4.
But it's wrapped in other.
They managed to announce that after all the
very
positivity.
Clever. I think we were sitting in their conference, and that just went.
Yeah, they skimmed over.
And by the way,
yeah, seriously. Oh, yeah.
PlayStation Plus, the benefits of that is great, but I don't know. Like PlayStation Network isn't. Everyone's on Xbox Live.
Yeah. Screw it. That's enough next gen talk. I don't talk about it anymore. I hate next gen. I hate it.
We need to stop breaking Simon during these podcasts.
I hate
it's becoming
next
a theme.
Next
Do you want to talk
crap.
about darts night?
I want to play SNES. I want Mario Kart in my plastic box. I want to plug it into my cartridge and blow on it first.
I can't play SNES anymore. Do you know why? Because
Mode 7. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, that gives me the fear. But also, I never liked the SNES controller.
It's tiny.
It is
really?
tiny.
Yeah,
like, I can hold it in my palms and put my entire fingers.
It's not
and
built
thumbs
for a
around
grown
it.
man. But yeah, I want my SNES back. You know what? I'm Wii U. Screw it. I'm making my choice now. I'm playing Wii U. That's what I'm buying.
Yeah, just someone needs to do something with that pad.
Just release anything.
Yeah. Okay. So let's rattle through a few community questions to end the podcast.
Xbox One.
We've already talked Xbox One, which was the first question I had. This is quite a good one actually. With Gamescom coming up this summer, what's left to be announced there, or what kind of news can we expect from Gamescom? Because Sony have mentioned that they've got. There's a
PS
rumor
Vita show.
There's going to be some stuff. Yeah. Well, to be fair, that wasn't an awful lot to talk about with the PS
bought
Vita.
one.
I've got one.
Well,
Playing mine this morning.
everyone agrees that the PS Vita is a really nice handheld. It just hasn't got games to play on it.
Yeah, I agree.
So that'd be I'm kind of pumped to see some stuff from them.
Gamescom, as it usually is, will be more about the playing and less about the announcing.
Yeah.
Like, no one really has any conferences or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
There may be sort of one big announcement that kind of sneaks out, but I don't think anything major.
I know the been before. There's a lot of behind closed door stuff, though, isn't there? Is that similar to the kind of presentations we were getting at E3?
Well, no, there's a dedicated press area. So there's actually sort of every publisher has their own. They have their show floor booths, and then they have I call them meeting rooms. They're more like mini offices, really. So yeah, if you're in the press, you can do your entire show without going on the show floor, whereas E3 integrates both.
Yeah.
So that's why it's more about playing. You'll go to a dedicated room, you'll sit down, and you'll play a game for an extended period of time.
So a lot of the stuff that's going to come out of it is going to be like stuff from interviews, reaction to things we heard at E3.
I think so. But then again, there have been announcements in the past, so somebody may have something planned. But it's less showy, that's for sure.
Cool. Okay, a few more quickfire ones. Other than The Last of Us, which I'm not entirely sure is a zombie game.
It's a zombie game.
We're not allowed to say that.
It's a zombie game.
They're mushroom people. The internet has decided that they're mushroom people, and we shouldn't call them.
Toad in the real world.
They bite people to infect them.
Yeah, but they infect them with mushrooms.
Where are you going with this, Steve?
Anyway, the question is
nowhere.
team's favourite zombie games, and there is also a follow-up to this as well.
Last of Us, Left 4 Dead.
Other than The Last of Us.
Left 4 Dead and Resident Evil 3. And the original Resident Evil, wasn't it?
Well, everything Resident Evil.
Not
until modern times.
Oh, actually, I got a Red Dead zombie game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Undead Nightmare was fantastic.
That was
I really enjoyed it. It was a small DLC. It wasn't even that small, actually, was
8
it?
hours?
Yeah, because I was thinking more of the multiplayer, which I really enjoyed. Which I'm not sure how many people played the Red Dead multiplayer.
Not a lot.
But yeah, the actual single player was really nice. Completely reskinned the world. Some nice little humour in it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Undead Nightmare. Dave, you got a favourite zombie game?
Dying Light.
But that's not true, is it? You haven't played? Have you played Dying Light?
It's going to be a Techland classic.
Oh.
Might as well call it Dying Light, the cartel from another world on an island in the middle of...
Well, it's not just Simon that's
weird.
broken, is it? It's not just Simon. Okay, and a follow-up question from Grammatron. Are we anywhere close to zombie games becoming less popular?
I'm so bored of zombie games.
I thought I was. State of Decay told me I wasn't.
Trust me, you've got plenty of zombie games. I'd say at least 6 a year.
Call of Duty Ghosts is a zombie game.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. You've got brainless enemies running around in a post-apocalyptic America. There you go. If you didn't think Last of Us was a zombie game, pow.
Serious answer to that previous question.
Yeah.
Into the Dead.
Into the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Endless Runner on iPhone. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Or The Walking Dead, right? But I haven't finished that yet.
Yeah. God, we didn't mention The Walking Dead.
Thanks for spoiling that, by the way, Chris.
No problem, Dave. From the Twitter sphere, we've got how would you improve The Last of Us? Higher gates. We all agreed on higher gates.
More consistent mechanics.
Simon's gonna hit me.
You look like you're...
Are you okay, Miller?
It's so hot in this room.
Just want the door open.
It is a bit
Open
warm.
the door.
I've given
Okay.
up. I've given up on life.
I'll waft the air in.
I was gonna ask about Animal Crossing, but I think it's only Matt who's been playing that at the moment, hasn't he?
I don't understand it. Dave plays. I don't understand Animal Crossing.
I've heard Animal Crossing described as kind of like a Facebook game without all the nonsense.
Yeah,
like
I think
all
that's a very good way to describe it.
the incentives to pay.
No, there's
extra
a lot
money.
of nonsense.
Yeah, but a different kind of nonsense. You're not being convinced to pay. I don't know, a few internet coins to speed up
The only
the
difference
way
is
this
that
tree grows.
Isabella accepts my advances when I flirt in Animal Crossing. Whereas Isabella on Facebook...
Jesus Christ.
Might
Rings
as well
the
not
police.
Why?
What's
It
the
was a
next
question about
question?
Animal Crossing. Why would you break that? Let's see. Thoughts on the Ouya that's being launched this week, right?
Who are you?
Not for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Who is it for, the Ouya? Because it's obviously...
It's not for YouTube, apparently.
yeah.
If you're looking for that video, we don't know where it is either.
We lost it. We thought we put it on YouTube, and now it's not
It's
there.
strange how that happened, isn't it?
I think we dropped it behind the sofa.
Yeah, classic. Which you could do with the Ouya. It's very small.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are there any games on Android that you would actually buy a
That's the
console
thing.
for?
The Ouya is a good idea, but at the moment I don't think it's exactly being...
I think the Ouya is for the same market that bought things like the Raspberry Pi. Like it's that kind of messing around with new tech and finding way. Like it can still play you kind
But
of.
it's the way they're marketing it. They're marketing it as a new next gen console.
Yeah, and when you open the box, doesn't it say something about believing in
Thank
games?
you for believing or something.
And
It's like, God.
designed by gamers for gaming and that kind of stuff. It's interesting. I think they might have got the message slightly wrong there. It's not going to compete with your typical consoles.
Angry turds.
So people buying it for thinking that's going to happen, you're going to be a little bit miffed. So that's my...
Wasn't there a story? Hang on, who was it who said that they saw someone trading there?
That was one of our freelancers tweeted saying, and I immediately called bullshit, thinking it might be one of those, gags. No, apparently.
Someone trading it in.
Someone trading in a 360 for.
Oh God.
Ouya.
Oh, that's crazy. As if there was already one to trade in for. I think one of the best kind of hands-on I've seen with the Ouya is a YouTuber called Ashens, and he wasn't a backer of the Kickstarter. He literally was in a second-hand shop and saw an Ouya I think a day or two after it had been launched. I was like, what the hell? That can't be real. That is terrible. The only
so
people,
you just went, okay, I'll buy it.
The only people that have the Ouya are the people that supported it with their money and backed it and was like, yes, we're going to revolutionize something. And they immediately went out and traded it in for
Well, they haven't even got them, have they yet?
It was just,
some people had them weeks.
Actually, yeah.
I know someone that got theirs a month ago.
Do you remember on Live, and they were handing those consoles out, Eurogamer, and I was standing in the queue, and they were giving them out, and there were guys literally on eBay going, how much are these going for on eBay? And they were going, yeah, I'll have one. 30 quid.
Yeah.
That's what people do.
People are terrible. I imagine there are a few Ouya consoles.
How much did you make on it, Dave?
Say.
Still got mine. Never opened the box.
30 quid
So
there.
how is that any better? At least so that someone else managed to buy a on-live console as a result of someone selling it. You're a hoarder.
The console's out to everyone who attended that expo. That must have cost them so much money.
I had high hopes for that.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's too soon.
And a final kind of question just to round things off. We've already talked about what we've been playing this week. Any kind of things you're looking forward to in the next couple of weeks?
No, we're in the quiet season.
Ashes cricket.
It all gets good in August again.
I'm about to play Spartacus Legends straight after this podcast, which...
Free-to-play downloadable game, right?
Yeah, free-to-play Xbox Live Arcade doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, but you never know.
It was rubbish. I played it last year. It was
Oh,
rubbish.
and there's the dream. The dream's gone.
Look out
all over.
for the... just look in the crowd. That's all I'm going to say.
What?
Is there someone in the crowd?
There are things in the crowd.
Is there...
Do you?
I mean, tell
you
me.
in the crowd?
No, it was very odd when we all discovered it last year. That basically, it's Game of Thrones syndrome where there's just naked women in the crowd for some reason.
That sounds right up your street.
Oh, hold on.
David.
We've completely missed out on the biggest game of the year, and it comes out this Friday. Ride to Hell.
Ride to Hell.
1%.
I've heard you guys
Retribution.
talking about this. What the hell is Ride to Hell, and why?
Well,
are
the
you
game has been coming out for
excited?
about 8 years. I think it was announced 8 years. 2005, I think it was first announced.
It's a totally different game now, right? It's totally different to what it was
I hope
originally.
so. Who knows? Could be the same.
It used to have one screenshot from many years ago, and the screenshot, I think, was just a highway. And so when I was working on magazines with Simon, you'd have to do a thing called Previews Roundup, where you'd go through the rest of the games, and you'd invariably always
How many
be...
previews did you do for it?
Well, it always invariably be one preview short because you talked about all the games. So Ride to Hell would go in as a joke and be like, it's definitely coming out. And now it is coming out.
It's actually coming out.
Oh, God, we've got to do something with it, and surely
We're
just for
review
you
it.
too. You need this closure.
I'm hoping for a
I
delay.
don't ever want to play it.
Just so I can keep doing it.
I've watched the launch trailer. I don't want to
Oh,
play
God,
it.
It's out in America now, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it a game about a motorcycle club or something?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Get it off
It's
Steam.
made by former people, apparently, that used to work for Rockstar.
Yeah, it's definitely not the Lost and Damned 2, though.
It's you
Oh,
Technics, isn't it?
Yeah, brand new studio made up of people that apparently used to work at Rockstar.
It's not a brand new studio.
I hate the name Technics as well.
I thought
just
Technics
saying.
was the Ferrari Challenge guys.
Yeah, but I say brand new studio when it's first announced. That's so
Oh,
long
right.
ago, it probably was a brand new studio.
Actually, that's a good
Right.
point, isn't it? Yeah.
Video games are brand new.
Well, there we are. I'm going to check this out as well.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
gonna be-
it might probably don't buy it.
Yeah.
I reckon
No,
you
but
should
they've-
wait.
It's been in development for 8 years, at least more than that. It's got to be good.
You're
Surely.
right, Chris. That worked out for Duke Nukem, didn't it?
It did. You're right. There we are. This is going to be ace.
You let me know how you get on next week.
And Aliens worked out for Aliens.
Yeah.
I think the clue is in the title.
Ride to Hell.
No, the
1%.
1% bit.
Yeah, it looks like a review score of 1%.
That makes me laugh.
It's so funny. If you watch any trailer, because the 1% refers to some kind of motorcycle thing.
Yeah, it's like the whole Anakin kind of
but
idea.
like you see the Ride to Hell goes dun and hits the thing, then Retribution dun, then about 10 seconds later it just goes ding and a 1% turns up like it's been reviewed.
What, the tone's differently? It's a
Well,
ding.
no,
instead
there's
of,
no that, but it does look like they've reviewed it and given it 1%. It's very funny. Very funny. But you play it, Chris, and in true sort of WWE fashion, we won't talk for a week, and then you can tell me your reactions next week.
All right.
We don't talk backstage. We only talk in front of the cameras.
It's a little bit impersonal, if I'm honest, Simon. To wrap up the podcast, we've got a couple of things.
Appraisal live on.
Yeah. Oh God.
And live from the Video Gamer Studios, it's Chris Pratt's appraisal.
Chris has been fired. Yeah, please don't. Will you just let me
This
pimp
is
these
anarchy.
two things?
It's gone mad.
I'm trying to. Okay, so we've got two things I need to mention. We've got the podcast competition, which wraps up, I think, next week. We've had some really good entries, actually.
Terrifying entries.
Yeah, there's a couple for you, Dave.
Really?
Yeah.
What is this about?
It was the competition
cards,
where you
the
had
scrolls.
to. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
me and Matt have been playing a bit of Scrolls, so we asked people to design cards that could go into that game.
Yeah.
A few of them feature you, and they're quite amusing. So yeah, if you would like to win yourself a lovely game from shop2.net, I think you might want to go check out the forums. There's a thread, and you don't even have to know what Scrolls is or have any artistic talent. I want to make this very clear. I really like the just horribly, horribly misguided entries.
Community.videogamer.com, I
Yes,
believe.
there we are. And whilst you're there, you can also check out the other Member of the Month thing that's going on, in which one member of the forums gets voted as the pinnacle of...
As the best person on the
Gamer
internet.
Forumites. Yeah.
Well done. You win the internet and a game.
Yeah,
up
exactly.
to £50.
Exactly, and you can even win one just for voting for that person. So yeah.
There's three games
Just-
up for
there's just
grabs.
games everywhere.
Just for being on the internet. And
Yeah.
everyone's on the fucking
Please
internet.
be on the internet.
Although,
To enter, you do have to have a constant internet connection.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can't access the forum to find out. Yeah.
What? That was topical. I
That's
like
it now. I'm
It's
dead.
good.
That comment is just sealed my funeral.
Right, I think we need to let Simon get out of here. So
It is very warm.
going to wrap this up. Thank you very
I'm
much
in
for
a jumper.
listening to the Video Gamer UK podcast this week. Been joined by some lovely guests. Simon, it's
A
almost
guest?
over, friend.
Not a guest. You're like a permanent member.
Oh.
We should get some actual guests. We should go get people off Croydon Street.
That's definitely not.
I quite like the idea of doing a video series, What Croydon Thinks, on just random gaming
Right,
topics.
none of this is happening.
you please-
just so we know.
We might need to ensure the camera and my personal safety as I go around
we
asking
film?
people.
No
but,
one will insure you.
Let's film an extended play in your gym.
Right. See you
That
later,
is-
guys.
that is so
Thanks for
90s.
tuning
Let's do
in.
it.
That was David Scammell.
Hello, bye. See you later.
That's it. You got the second time. Mr. Steve, the Burns.
See ya.
And I've been Chris Bratt. Thank you very much. And we will be back next Wednesday. Goodbye.
Madness.
This is the hottest room on the planet.
I don't know what's happened.
Can't handle it.